So on that podcast yesterday, the the guys that run it are it's Seb Ostrovich and Josh Gibson, Weightlifting House. But Seb started it because he loves weightlifting. He's a huge weightlifting fan. I mean, he's done a lot for the sport, and I think he's going to do a lot more. But I was thinking about that nature of being a fan, and that being a fan is okay. I mean, it's great. The sport needs fans. But if you're an athlete and a fan, it gets problematic because as an athlete, you're a fan of people you eventually want to beat, depending on your goals. Now, I was thinking about the people that you want to beat, and that's part of defining your goals at the beginning of the sport or near the beginning of the sport, because it's important to define what your goals really are. If your goals are recreational and fitness, and you just love the movements and you love getting stronger, and you haven't really thought about what your goals are. Maybe your high-end goal is going to the state meet and winning state. Well, you've defined who you want to beat. You want to beat the best people in the state. If you want to qualify for nationals, I assume that your goals are to win nationals. So I think it's better to define these consciously, even write them down right at the beginning, because if you know who you have to beat, then you know where to start looking for how to get there. So your goals define who you have to beat. Who you have to beat defines or starts to help define how you get to that point. And they're a person who did things. So if you're a fan and you put those people on a pedestal, then what you've done effectively is separate them from you and making things they do or did to get there not possible for you. There's something special about them. I think that's a psychological ploy that helps keep us safe, because if they're different and special and they're so amazing and great and there's something completely separate from you about them, then you've relieved yourself of the obligation to do what they did or pay the price they paid to get there. And that's a perfectly valid choice. I would prefer that was a conscious choice. I choose to be a C-session lifter at nationals, or I choose to be a state champion and I don't have to do more, or I choose to be recreational, and that's great. That's, like I said, perfectly valid choice. But if you choose to go to the top, then you have to start looking at what those people did to get there. How did they train? What details did they pay attention to? How did they arrange their life around their training? And start looking at the details of how they got to where they are. And you need to start doing those things and figuring out how to do them better. Everything they did, and keep refining it and refining it and refining it. At first, basically just do what other people have done unless you have a good reason not to. You don't need to invent new methods, new approaches. You don't need to invent anything. Just keep doing things better, finding things that you can do better and improve on those. And that's as much a part of the process as learning the sport and training. I read an interesting article about the Patriots and their success. And, the Patriots coaches don't know more about running an offense or a defense than other coaches in the league. They don't have some special different way to block or tackle or set up a play. What they do is search out details that can matter that have been overlooked, or search out things that are being done in a standard way and see if they can do them better. The example that they gave of this was in their 2-minute drill. They teach the players who get the ball, like a wide receiver at the sideline, not to throw the ball to the referees. Because referees sometimes don't catch the ball. They drop it, they fumble it around, they follow it, and all that time, precious seconds are ticking off that you might need for that field goal at the end of the drive. They teach them to sprint to the referee and hand them the ball. And it seems like a silly detail, but if it saves 3 seconds of the referee fumbling to find the ball and getting the spot, That's 3 seconds they don't have to try to find on the clock at the end of the drive. That's the kind of thing they do every day.